Hello and welcome to the Life Coaching on the Move podcast. I am Dawn Fisk and each week I will discuss a different life subject that is relevant to each and every one of us. I will include thought-provoking experiences both from my own life and from the hundreds of people I've coached over the years. I will give you essential tips and strategies that you can use in your everyday lives in order to grow your inner confidence, achieve your goals, feel happier in life, have better relationships and social skills, and a much higher sense of self-esteem and worth. I'll be on your team, coaching and supporting you along the way, reminding you of what works and what to avoid. You can tap into the podcast wherever you are and whenever you feel it would help. And together we will keep you on track, focused, constantly moving forward and improving with much more determination, feeling the way you deserve to feel, and generally achieving overall increased happiness in your life. Welcome along. So, without any further hesitation, let's move on to this week's subject. Today I'm talking about the benefits of being prepared and planning and thinking ahead. Now, when I qualified in NLP, for any of you who are not sure what that is, that stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. All about changing our thoughts, reprogramming our habitual thinking into better, more helpful, empowering ones. Because the idea is that many of our thoughts are just sort of automatic, habitual, we don't think about them, we're not necessarily conscious of them, and NLP gets you to realize them, gets you to be more aware of them, and gets you to choose whether they're helpful and empowering or in fact whether they're toxic and dragging you down a little bit. And if they are, then it's very much of the belief that we can reprogram our thoughts and get those new thoughts to become our habit thinking, get that more set in stone, and that our brain has a lot of plasticity. It is changeable, it is moldable, like plasticine. And one of the modules, I was thinking about this morning, I haven't thought about it in a little while, but one of the modules that we learned was all about time and where we are on a timeline. And so what we had to do in this module when we were training, we had to, some of you may think this is bizarre, but we had to point to where tomorrow is for us. If you had to visually sort of point where, in fact, you can do it now. Ask yourself, where is tomorrow? If you had to think about tomorrow, getting up, your alarm going off, your lunch tomorrow, the work that you've got scheduled for tomorrow, or tomorrow evening's activities that you might have planned. If you have to point to those, where are they? Equally, if you have to point to where last Sunday is it behind you, to the left? If you kind of use your thumb and point to last Sunday, and then further on from that, point to and think about and recall last Christmas Day. Where would that be if you had to point to it? Equally, looking ahead, if you had to point to next Christmas coming, Christmas looming, or your next birthday, where is it? So some of us have, what we're doing here, we're trying to work out our timelines. Now, there is no right or wrong timeline. With many clients, they'll point to tomorrow as just being maybe a few inches in front of them. They'll point to next Sunday as being maybe a foot in front of them. They'll point to next Christmas as being some way off, a few meters in front of them, let's say. Sometimes it's directly in front of them. When they point to the past, yesterday may just be behind their shoulder, so behind them. Sometimes it's to the side of them, it might be to the left of them, and the future might be to the right of them. There isn't a right or wrong, or sometimes it might be an S-shaped line behind, and then in front may make kind of an S shape. There's no rules to this one. It's just how you see time, where you see your past, where you see your future. Now, for me, it's quite a straight line. My future's in front of me, straight ahead of me, and my past is straight behind me, going backwards in a straight line. Once you've got your timeline sorted and you know where the past is and the future is, then the question was, where is now? If you had to point to now, right now, this moment now, on your timeline, where is it? Now, this is when it gets interesting, because for some people, they'll say, I'm standing on it. For others, it will be just slightly in front or to the side, just slightly outside of them, maybe an inch or two in front. And that's where it is. So for many people. So for some people, they're in time. And for some people, they're just slightly ahead of time, through time, we call it. So some people are in time and some people are through time. Now, depending on which one you are, I think, I've never done this on my husband, but I think my husband is very much in the moment. When we had young children, he would be able to sit down on the floor and build Lego with them and get completely absorbed in the now. Completely. Or if we're out for dinner with mates, he's totally just there enjoying it. Or if he's reading a book or reading the paper or in the bath or whatever, he's just in the now. He's not thinking about other things that are going on. Whereas I'm just slightly ahead of myself, always thinking about the next thing. So I'm completely the opposite. He's in time, I'm through time. No, there isn't a wrong or right. There's no law or rule or any better. But the group that I fall into are very, very good at planning, because we're always thinking of what we've got to do next. So whilst when the children were young, I could get down on the floor and build a bit of Lego, and I would enjoy that for a while, I would then quite quickly be thinking about, I need to be getting dinner on and it's school tomorrow, so I need to be getting the school bags ready and polish the school shoes, or I need to iron some shirts, and I'd be thinking about next Wednesday of what I've got to do, and next Wednesday I'd be constantly thinking. When I used to go to college to learn all of this or any of the programmes that I'm on, I would be completely there throughout the day, and then just as home time was, just the end of the day was looming, I would be the one with my files and books in the rucksack. I'd have my keys in my hand and I was ready to go. I'd switched off, because for me, I was already on the M25, already trying to combat traffic, already at home, needing to get dinner on and kids to bed. So if we go out for dinner, I'll be completely present for much of the evening, for 2/3 of the evening, but then towards the end, I'll be thinking, we ought to go now, because I've got to get up early in the morning and I'm meant to be meeting so-and-so and doing a run, and then I've got the ironing to do, and then I've got to... So I can be in the moment for a while, but then I'm already thinking about the things I need to be doing. So I'm planned, I'm ahead, and all the rest of it. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. So the disadvantage for me is that I can't just lose myself in the moment for good. Actually, I've just realised this, one of the things about when we go on holiday, I'm great on holiday for a few days, for the first 2/3 of the holiday, but before the end, I'm already thinking about getting home. I'm already looking forward to going home, things I need to be getting on with. And I don't mind all of that. I'm a doer, so I'm in my element. So I'm already thinking, I need to get home, I need to get that. And I've usually got the supermarket order already, it's done, the food's already lined up to be delivered by the time we arrive, etc., etc., or just as we arrive. So in a sense, I'm quite naturally very good at planning and getting on and knowing what I've got to be doing before, and often doing most of those things before they're even due anyway, just so that I can be getting on with the next load of things. It's got its advantages. It is equally exhausting, and it is equally as negative an issue for the family, because they might just be thoroughly enjoying the moment and the building of the Lego or the sitting having a drink, and they don't want to go home yet. So it's pros and cons for sure. So which are you? That's the question. And how can you play to your strengths? I play to my strengths. I use it a lot. I'm pretty much always organised, got things planned and so on. And I don't think if I could change it, I would want to anyway, because I suppose maybe I'm just very familiar with it. But we can be aware of it, and I do check myself. Now, if we're out with friends for dinner, I will make myself just be present. Come on, stop thinking about tomorrow. Get those things done in advance so I don't worry about the things for tomorrow, and I can just lose myself in the moment. So I can put strategies in place to counteract it. But why am I saying all of this? Well, the reason is because it keeps cropping up, actually. The last few weeks, I've been coaching quite a lot of youngsters, young adults who are getting ready, say, for example, to go off to university, a whole new life. and helping them and getting them prepared, both getting them prepared mentally for how they're going to socialise, how they're going to mix and make sure they get friends and settle well emotionally, but also from a practical point of view. And talking to them, it's very different, unfortunately, this year than it is in other previous years because of COVID. So they're getting there, they're settling, we're having Zoom conversations and sessions, but they're in their houses and they're making friends with their housemates, but they're not having lectures yet. One's got 2 weeks of just sort of sitting around, really. In theory, they're not meant to be going to any kind of sport. They're not meant to be swapping houses or going to meet other people or their classmates yet, just their housemates. So whilst that's quite nice, that could have some disadvantages. They're away from home. They may be missing home. They've got to meet their few housemates. Maybe they're drawn to them and got lots in common. Maybe they haven't. They're keen to get on with their courses. They can't do the Freshers Week. They can't do the gigs and the bars and the dances and the sports and the activities. So I really, really feel for them. It does have its challenges. It's exciting times for them, but it's not as it was. So what I've been doing with them beforehand is getting them prepared. And for all of us, but certainly in the UK, but I think it's pretty much worldwide at the moment, at the time of recording this, of course, COVID is still very much a topic. And when you listen to this, whether it is or isn't, you may be listening to this a year down the line and it's all behind us, which is fantastic. I love that thought. But at the moment, if you listen to this in the next few months, it will still be relevant. And so today we're in middle of September. Today is a glorious day. It's gorgeous weather. So we aren't in lockdown properly down in the south. We're in restrictions, but not proper lockdown, whereas a client that I was working with earlier is in lockdown up north. So it could be coming to any of us at any point. Things are changing on a daily basis. And for me already, I'm thinking, how is it going to be this winter? How is it going to be if we can't really socialise? How is it going to be if we're in proper lockdown? How is it going to be in lockdown in the winter? Because we're fortunate enough to have it previously when the weather was glorious. So we could get out exercising, we could get out gardening and cleaning our cars and clearing the garage or the shed and making ourselves busy or doing some decorating with the windows open or whatever. And I'm already thinking, is it going to be quite different in the winter? Is it going to be quite challenging, and mental health issues and being stuck in the dark every evening and so on? So for me, being the planner that I am, with my clients and the students who are all going on big adventures, it's all about having a backup plan. So the theme for today for any one of us, whether we're facing COVID or not, whether we're facing a new chapter in our life or not, it's to think ahead, even if you don't naturally, that's not naturally your strength because you're very much in the moment. It, I think, is important in these times to try and think ahead and put strategies in place. So with the students going off to uni, I said to them, it's really exciting. You've got your car loaded up with all your bedding and your quilt and your food, etc. But there does need to be some things in there for you to do for you that you enjoy by yourself. Because if you're in your house and you're hanging around for 2 weeks before any lectures start, and even when they do start, they sound like there are only very few and far between, you need some stuff that you can do that you like doing. Take some good books, some great books, some cheery books. Not just your work, your study books, but some light relief, a good novel you can get lost in. Or take some board games, good old-fashioned board games, or a game of a pack of cards, where some of your housemates can sit around the shared communal kitchen table and you can play cards or Pictionary or something like that. Download some audiobooks or download some podcasts. Think about some different Netflix series that you haven't watched or films or something where you could maybe do that all together, a few of you in your house together, or some films, or if your laptop takes DVDs, take some of your favourite DVDs with you, those sorts of things. One of my clients was going to take an adult colouring book so that downtime and chilling time if you're stressed or not. could just sit and be creative, or some art books, some blank materials for doing your art, or some creative stuff, whether it's whatever your creative thing is, making things, creating things, designing things. Also, one of the things we talked about was taking a lovely notebook that you love and journaling. If nothing else, because in a year's time, when you get through your first year and you look back and you're all established now, you've got loads of mates, you're having a great time. But you can look back on your first year, even if it's 10 years down the line, you can look back and reflect and laugh about your thoughts. But it does help to journal. Journaling is seen to be as helpful and as powerful and as therapeutic as talking therapies. It's been proven that it's as therapeutic. So if that young person is having problems and struggling and not adjusting straight away very easily and homesick, journaling is really, really helpful. So if this is one of your teenagers that's just gone off to uni, maybe post them a lovely, beautiful notebook and some stationery and some nice pens and say, write down all your thoughts and journal. In any way, free journaling or structured, what are you proud of today? What's been the highlight of today? Listing things out, or just free journaling with what they've been thinking. The funny things today, the good upsides, to get them looking at the positive. Actually, again, I was in the woods this morning with my son and the dogs, and we came across loads and loads of beautiful looking growths of fungi, whatever the word is, just awesome looking displays of groups of mushrooms, whole loads of toadstools in different areas. Fungi growing on trees. They'd all just arrived. They weren't there last week because I was in the wood last week. It's the right environment. And as I said to my son this morning, you see, there we are. There's Mother Nature at its best. You give it the right environment and things will thrive. They will grow. And as I said to him this morning, much to his annoyance, I'm sure, that's like our mindset. If we give thoughts the right environment, they will grow. So if they're good thoughts and we encourage them and we nurture them and give them the right environment, they will grow positively. If we are feeding negative thoughts and giving that the right environment, then they will grow, and we don't want that. So journaling for any of us through lockdown or through the winter or the winter blues, even if it's not COVID anymore, the winter blues, or any time, just as a byproduct of today's podcast, it's to use the power of journaling. It's incredibly effective, as effective as talking through your problems with your best friend or a therapist or a counsellor or a mentor at work or colleague or HR department. So if you don't have that, or if you do have that, do journaling on top as well, and you've got a double whammy approach. So that's one takeaway from today. The other, which I was focusing on, is being prepared. So any one of us, what can we do now to prepare for the winter? A bit like preparing the garden, cutting back the hedges and cutting back the dead plants and getting them all ready for the winter. What can you do to prepare for the winter, for the dark nights, the cold nights, and possible lockdowns and COVID and the challenges that that's going to bring this year, or any other year actually, where there isn't COVID? We've still got the change in seasons and the change therefore in our moods and our energy and our social side. It inevitably changes in the winter. So for me, the preparing myself is getting the right gear in. My walking boots have got a hole in now, so I want to get myself some really good waterproof, sturdy walking boots ready for the winter, so that I can still get out there. No matter what the weather, I will have the right gear, waterproof jacket, waterproof trousers, so that even if it's bleak, I can go out for a long bracing walk in the winter sunshine or the wind and the rain and still get the benefits of fresh air, of exercise, of getting out, a change of scenery, of blowing away the cobwebs and getting some vitamin D to my skin, which will lift my mood through the winter. So it may be that you need to get, while it's on sale at the moment, while it's still warm, get yourself some wet weather gear, get yourself some warm winter stuff, and make a pact with yourself that you're going to maintain your physical activity and get outside as you may well have done through the summer challenges that we've had this year with COVID, and you've benefited from it and you've enjoyed it, and you've got now into cycling, or you've got now into running or walking or whatever, socializing with friends outside, meeting them for a dog walk or horse ride or just a walk or a hike or whatever it is. Don't let the winter change that. I remember my mum saying that even when we were babies, and I'm 54 now, so this is a while ago, she used to put us out in the pram, out in the garden, no matter what the weather, as babies. She would just wrap us up warmer. She used to believe it was really good for our sleep, really good for our immune system and our health and everything, really. She'd put us under the washing line and we would just watch the washing flap around and then fall asleep. I guess it's quite hypnotic. And none of us... I'm one of 4, have got any ailments or allergies or anything like that. So I think it did us the power of good. And maybe that's why I love being outside. But anyway, so the weather isn't the excuse, it's the mindset. And if we believe we can't go out because it's raining, we're not going to go out because it's raining. But there is an excuse. Nothing's going to happen at all. So keep up what you've been doing through the summer. What else can you do to get things in place? Can you get a load of good reading material in now? Can you get to the library? Can you go to second-hand bookshops while they're still open? Can you get yourself swap books with a load of friends? Or swap the good novels you've been using and reading and enjoying this summer. Swap them so you've got lots of good books, and actually you look forward to the winter evenings. You think, I've got 4 good books I want to, or jigsaw puzzles or board games. If you're bored with some board games, swap them with other people. Get some adult colouring books in, get a journal in that you can journal, get some nice smellies and bubbles in for the bath, get some nice, for these students, they were saying they've got some nice nail kits, they're going to do their nails and paint their nails and things like that. How can you look after you? Can you get some vitamins in for the winter? Can you get vitamin D in and some zinc and some vitamin C and things like that? Good, strong multivitamins ready for the winter to keep your immune system ready. Can you get a new cookery book with some really nutritious meals? Do some new cooking. Get some healthy food going. Make sure you're using fresh ingredients, so you're increasing your palate and your interest in food, making it more interesting, enjoying food, but staying really well and healthy through it. Can you get, if you've got a laptop or a machine, can you go and get a load of secondhand DVDs and watch some old films and catch up on all of those things? What did you used to like doing and what can you carry on doing now? If you like creating and needlework or making or baking, get the stuff in now. Everybody wanted to bake cakes in lockdown, but no one could get flour. So can you get some nice cake books, some nice decorating ideas, and make some lovely cakes through the winter? What I'm trying, and also the gardening as well. What do you need to get in for the garden? Do you want to borrow a hedge cutter or some clippers? Get the hedges cut ready for the winter. Get things cut back, trimmed, those sorts of things. So we can be busying ourselves and getting ready, but in a positive way, so that there are things to look forward to. If you didn't learn Zoom through the summer, ask somebody now to show you how to use Zoom. If you've never, some friends of ours play bridge. I've never played bridge, but apparently they play bridge. I haven't got a clue what it even is and whether it'll be any good, but apparently it's quite technical and it's very sociable and it takes time. So I thought maybe the winter could be a time that we actually, because you can do that over Zoom. So play bridge over Zoom instead of the quizzes that we had through the summer. Or we could do the quizzes and Zoom at bridge at different times. Some of my relatives actually play Scrabble against each other online on the phones. Other friends of mine play chess online, each do a different move online on the phones or the iPad. So there's loads of things you can do to stay connected, to do things, to have some fun. Get ready and enjoy it and embrace it, no matter what the government or the health issues throw at us, we can still find fun, we can still find value, we can still enjoy the time, but it might be different to the summer months. But I do believe if we're prepared and we've got some of those things in, some of the art and craft things in, or materials in, or then we'll have no excuse if we suddenly go into a more full lockdown in your town. You've got stuff ready and it won't be too depressing, and you won't then resent it or struggle with it. It will just make everything more bearable. But if we don't, and it's just the winter blues, it will also be much more likely to stave those off. I do think Christmas this year is going to be quite a different Christmas to the one we're used to in so many ways. If we can't go out and see people or mix or whatever, we may just have to find a way around it. So I feel I just wanted to say this week, be prepared, think it through. If you don't naturally go ahead of time, then maybe spend half an hour thinking ahead. I've got the dogs in here and they're now raiding the bin, so I'll just confiscate that. And plan ahead. If you've got youngsters going to university, maybe send them some stuff or get them these things in advance. Or on your first visit to them, take some stuff just in case, because they are saying that possibly the students will stay at university no matter what goes round bug-wise and virus-wise. They may just stay there. So send them some stuff to get them through and keep them sane and keep them upbeat and keep them mentally strong. Or get them a coach or a counsellor via Zoom. If you are worried about them, then that can be done via Zoom. For sure, there is emotional support there. So go forth and go and do some planning and go and get some prep in place. And see, if you need some yoga stuff or some fitness stuff. That's what happened last time. Nobody had anything in, and everybody was trying to buy bikes, and they were trying to buy weights, and they were trying to buy flour, and it was a bit the horse had already bolted when we went into lockdown. But this time we've got the benefit of hindsight. We can have the benefit of foresight, and I've said that in so many ways in our lives. We can benefit from learning in the past and making sure it doesn't repeat itself in the future. So that's what we can do. You can learn a language, download stuff, get some reading material in, download some short courses, some free courses, look around at what you would like to learn. If you've been made redundant or you're struggling work-wise, look at what gaps you've got on your CV and look at what you could learn through the winter and fill those gaps so that you come out with a much stronger CV, or you can sign up for some voluntary work and things like that. So we can use these next few months for turning things around and getting ready for the next stage, for the spring, for hopefully a vaccine, for hopefully getting all this behind us, getting the winter behind us, and making next year such a happy year, such a fulfilling year with some holidays booked and some activities, and feeling healthier, feeling slimmer, feeling with a stronger immune system because you've looked after yourself so well through the winter. And those learnings, those lessons on what you do this year to help yourself and your family will hopefully then stay in place for the rest of your future. You will always then take those vitamins or make sure you get out through the winter no matter what, and stay active and get a bicycle and join a few people on cycling in the winter. Doesn't matter that it's winter and it's raining, who cares? Just go, get gloves on and stuff like that. Just go, live life to the full. Don't let the weather dominate and determine what you do and don't do. Don't let the government determine what you do and don't do in terms of your mental health. You are responsible. It's about personal responsibility. I hear people say this phrase a lot. They'll say, are we allowed to do so-and-so? We can go and meet because we're allowed to do that, or something like that. It's about what they're allowed to do. Well, I always say, what about what you personally are prepared to do? Are you personally prepared to risk that? Because we've got to take personal responsibility at all. And if we feel unsure and we don't feel comfortable sitting in a pub, even though it's just 6 of us, then don't do it. If you feel it's a risk, don't do it. You're personally in charge. Do a Zoom meeting instead, or go for a walk with just 1 or 2 of you outside, socially distancing. We are in charge. So I hope that's really, really helped. Enjoy the planning stage, get excited by it, get motivated by it, and look forward to the winter. A lot of people dread the winter, and I think that's the wrong mindset. Again, it's those mushrooms growing. If we start dreading it and getting negative thoughts about it, we're going to feel negative before it's even set in. And I don't think we need to. We can really embrace it. Get some candles in, get yourself some, whatever your favourite is, your favourite tipple or something. A good video or good DVD or something, and just enjoy it. Enjoy a night in the winter with it low lights and something good on the TV or a good book, and make yourself comfy and the home comfy, and make it a nice place and a nice environment. And don't dread it. Embrace it. Welcome it and go with it, and do everything you can to make it as positive as you can in your own way. Then we'll come out the other side a much healthier, mentally healthier group of human beings. So I hope that's been helpful. Drop me a line. Always feel that you can contact me if you need any help or support at all on any subject, not just what we've covered on the podcast, a whole host of subjects. You can always contact me via www.milestone-coaching.com. .co.uk. I have today put up some new workshops, group workshops. There's a stress management 3-week workshop starting early October, which is via Zoom. 3 weeks of coaching on stress management in small groups. So if you would like some stress management coaching, it's much cheaper to do it in these group sessions than one-on-one. If money is a difficulty and you like that option, then have a look. Equally, because it's been so popular, I'm doing another 7-week life skills and confidence course for teenagers up to any age. So that's a 7-week course that starts early in October. That one's going to be on a Saturday morning this time. The stress management course is going to be on a Tuesday evening. All of them are just an hour long, whether they're 7 weeks or 3. They're hour-long sessions in small groups, small, friendly and safe. If either of those two topics appeal to you, and both of them are packed with practical tips that you can use every single day to improve how you're working and how you're feeling and how you're thinking. So have a look on the website for the 2 workshops. There are also online programs, time management and advanced stress management program. What else is there to say? And if you've enjoyed today, please would you share it? Somebody yesterday shared it on LinkedIn for me, which I was hugely grateful for. That's really sweet. They've done it on Facebook and social media, but not on LinkedIn, which thank you so much for doing that. Take care, everybody, and have a fantastic week. And I look forward to talking to you on next week's episode of Life Coaching on the Move.